Welcome to another episode of On Location with Paradigm. I'm here with a great guest, an awesome guest that has a great story today. Her name is Anna. Anna, it's a pleasure to have you here on the show. It's great. First time meeting you in person. So this is awesome. I saw your story on social media. It was fantastic. I loved it. So I had to reach out, obviously. But why don't we start off with telling people who you are and what it is you do now?
All right. Well, I do want to thank you first for thanking me for this opportunity. I really can't believe it. But hi, everybody. My name is Ana Gallegos, and right now I am now a licensed real estate agent.
Awesome.
Yes,
So now you're a real estate agent. When did you get your license?
I got my license November 1st.
Okay, so it's only been a couple of weeks, right?
Yes.
Okay, so you're a brand new agent, just started out.
Mm-hmm.
Let's start off from the beginning. So you're on a path to a great journey. But let's talk about your journey before getting a real estate license. Let's start about talk about where you're from and your story on how you got to where you are now.
Okay, well, I can say where it all began, I would say when my mind changed, when my parents actually put me in the school system in Mexico. So I was about like maybe 15 years old. Yeah, I was 15 years old. I just got done with my quinceañera. We went to Mexico, of course, como no. And my parents actually decided like, why not? It's a great idea to put her in the school system there. We're gonna be there all summer long. So I was like, sure, why not? I was first nervous, of course. And when I was there, I was just so shocked of how the culture was there. I was so shocked of just seeing the kids there, and they were so amazed of me just telling me them stories about the United States, how the school system is over here, just how high school is over there, or just seeing it. And I was teaching them Spanish. No, I was teaching them English.
Okay.
They were teaching me Spanish. And so that just opened my eyes on really like how privileged I am. So when I came back, I was entering my sophomore year of high school, and I just had an idea like, I don't want to be here anymore. And I was like, I know that's crazy, right? To say that. I'm only like, what, 15 years old to say that? But that's when my parents told me that they were actually going to move to Mexico. And so at that time, I was like, I had a goal to try to graduate high school that year. And to me, it was crazy because I was walking in with only 9 high school credits.
Wow.
To graduate high school with 26 was like them telling me, like, girl, it's impossible. But 6 months later, I graduated high school, and I found myself with the high school diploma at 16 and still didn't know what exactly was next in life for me after that. And then from there, I kind of told my parents that I was like, I really don't want to go to Mexico. Like, I don't want to see myself over there. I see myself accomplishing my dreams, the American dream of opportunity here. And I don't know how in the world I convinced them, but they were obviously going to go to Mexico, right? And I convinced them that I wanted to be an emancipated minor. Like, I told them, like, hey, I got this idea. I can petition for my rights to be an independent individual as an adult at 16 years old. And in my mind, I just was that crazy, okay? So my parents, I convinced them. And so I actually got emancipated over that summer after I graduated high school. And then right after that, I was just kind of figuring out what was life after that. I knew I wanted to come to the big city.
Yes.
So I knew that I wanted to go to the big city and do whatever I needed to do to get here, right? And luckily, my cousin was going to be a realtor at that time, and she actually messaged me saying, like, hey, I know you just graduated high school. I don't know you're an emancipated minor. And I know you want to go to Dallas. Do you want to come and rent a room from me and we can work something out? That's where the opportunity came, and I took it,
Yes.
So that's how I came to Dallas at 16 years old. And from there, everything kind of went step by step and kind of getting me here. While in the meantime, I was waiting to turn 18. That's how I'm here.
Wow, that's a great journey, and it's a lot of individuals that are younger, 15, 16. They don't really see themselves as being independent or having that job or really wanting to strive for themselves in a career. You don't really see that often and really in today's age. So I think that's really powerful and strong of you to really do that and have that willpower to say, you know what, I'm ready to be independent. This is what I want to do, and this is where I want to be. This is where I want to live. And even though you didn't exactly know your career yet, but you still know that you still knew that you wanted to be independent and you still knew that you wanted to be something or become something better of yourself and gain that knowledge just of life in general.
Yes, of course. That's what kind of like I'm telling you, when I was in Mexico, like that just it blew my mind of how privileged I was, and I was just like I had to get after it, And so years later, like 2 years passed and I was looking back and I was actually telling my dad, like, like asking him like what was going through his mind, like you were letting go your 16-year-old daughter out in the real world. Like what was going through your mind? Me being ignorant, I guess you could say, me being, I guess, that crazy, tan loca. But he ended up telling me, like, honestly, I saw a version of you when I was 8 years old and strive to be independent. And you doing it at 16 and you doing it even in a bigger land with opportunities makes me know that you're ready. I trusted you. I just didn't trust the world that you were going to be out there.
Right.
And so but something told me you're going to be just fine. So I just had to let you go. And to me, that just blew my mind, how much my parents really did trust me at that time.
Yeah, and that going back to, things that really doesn't happen in today's society is sometimes parents won't give their kids the freedom to do things. They won't. They want to keep them more tight knit, and we hear it all the time. And people are on social media or anyone that has goals of wanting to be a real estate agent or they want to be a content creator, and the parents will sometimes hold them back. I hear this most of the time from other people that want to become entrepreneurs, and they say that the parents don't think they can do it. They should find another job. They should be
Right.
something different. But that's what their parents want. That's not what their children want. And to have that ability to go out and do your own thing is very big. So it's good that you did that. Um, we're feeling a little bit of sprinkles here. This is great. This is fantastic. We're outside, so you're gonna get anything, but hopefully it doesn't, pour here. But let's get to your real estate. So your cousin was in real estate. You're here in Dallas. You wanted to stay here. You stayed with her, rented a place, right? So what was that journey like of getting that real estate license? You found out, you found out, not maybe that wasn't your career yet, but you said, yes, I want to join real estate. I want to join you becoming a realtor. What was that journey like and getting your real estate license?
Okay, so right after I moved to Dallas, right, and I saw what my cousin was doing and I saw like the potential it could have, right? And she started maybe when she was like in her mid-20s, early 20s. And I was like, imagine how far I could go if I started at my age. So I thought I could get my real estate license early with me being an emancipated minor. Turns out that's not how it works. But it was a hard pill to swallow, I could say that. But I didn't let that stop me, of course. I tried finding ways to get myself out there. And that's how I came across putting myself on social media, I noticed that my journey as I got here wasn't really the typical one, right? It was a crazy ride, I'm gonna tell you. But I noticed that there's probably gonna be someone out there gonna be either inspired or going through what I'm going through right now. So that's what kind of motivated me to post. And if I were ever to give, I kind of started it to see myself in other people's shoes. Like, hey, I was once 16 years old and was clueless. I really wish I had someone to tell me, hey, I'm going to give you the roadmap to be successful. But that's clearly not how it works. But I always feel like I would always want to help the younger generation. Like, hey, if you have any advice or anything, or you think that this is going to be hard, trust me, it is going to be hard, but you're not going to be the only one going through this. It was probably 10 times harder for me if I started at 16 and you're starting at 18. I had a lot more complications at that time. Right. And so that's what kind of got me to start doing social media, and as well as I saw my cousin doing real estate, and I would help her at anything I could. We would go to open houses or grand opening events, and I would shoot content for her. I would honestly, I would be there, helping you. I would be there hands on. I'm all yours. And that's what kind of got me putting myself in front of builders, in front of lenders, in front of other realtors, and trying to see what their advice is when I get my real estate license. And that's how I got a lot of traction from them. I got a lot of support from other realtors, like, you're doing so well, so much support. And I realized this is something it was meant for me.
Yes. So you said you were helping your cousin out. You said you were helping her and shooting content, going to different places of meeting other builders, meeting lenders, insurance professionals, things like that. Would you say that networking is really huge if you're starting out as becoming a realtor? Would you say networking is big, and it doesn't even not even just builders and lenders, but other real estate agents as well?
For sure. I definitely say that because when I remember hearing one advice from one realtor saying I would suggest hey, even though you're maybe a couple months out until you turn 18, you can't get your real estate license, go out there and network so much that everybody knows you.
Yeah.
Go network so much that everybody knows you. And I took that and I ran with it, okay?
There you go.
So I was meeting everybody, and that really changed me because I got opportunities let's go film content. And I would go and they would give me tips on filming content, a little more to better my quality. And I would go and see their stories, and I would they would always oh, let's go out to eat or something. I would always get an opportunity, and I was I never felt alone. I knew in the beginning I did feel a little bit enclosed, or I didn't know anybody, but me getting to know people and they kind of knew me just kind of felt okay, you kind of fit in here. So it has paid off, me being networking and me getting out of my shell, because I was 16 years old, coming from a small town. Of course, I was going to be an introverted person. So going to the big city was a huge change in my way of social life, because I was always a shy little girl. And something in me was girl, if you want to make big decisions and big impacts in the world, you got to get out there and start using your voice. So I did. And I mean, here we are today. We got so many ways. I know there's so many things that are going to hit me in the head or go and beyond my career path. And I just really can't wait, because I know this is just the beginning.
So of course, I reached out to you on social media because that's where I found you on social media, and I saw your story. And so let's go to content creating. What made you feel or what made you kind of go to social media and feel like you needed to share your story to people to people to know what you went through? Because I know you did mention that you want to encourage other people that are maybe younger to get into real estate, or just go for their dreams. What was the what really encouraged you to go on social media and share what you did? What you did?
What really encouraged me to go on social media?
Yeah, share your story and do that post every day like you're doing now.
I remember this one kid that reached out to me and on TikTok. That's where I started. And he was actually telling me a little bit of a background story, and he saw hey, I see that you're not that much older than me, you're maybe a year older than me. And I see that you by yourself, or you're doing this by yourself. And I was I have a lot of respect for that. And at that time, when I was doing all those crazy things at the same time, graduating, emancipating myself, moving to Dallas and starting my real estate career and all that. In that moment, I really didn't think about the impact it was gonna be for other people if I were ever to show it or to share it to other people. But I remember that one kid just reaching out to me, and that really touched home, or that really felt oh my gosh, someone's actually supporting me. because I really felt like I didn't have that support, like, oh, like, keep going, keep going. Because we, like you say, a lot of our parents, they want us to, like, they protect us a lot, right? And they know they want the best for us. And I thought, okay, well, if one's supporting me, who else might be out there wanting to see my story to help them keep going, whatever life could throw at you, for me, that was me, like, hey, you take life and you just go with it, you never, I honestly, I think for the past year and a half, basically going on to 2 years that I'm out of high school, I realized, like, honestly, I don't live with regrets. I honestly, life was really too short for me to live with regrets. And that's what kind of motivated me, like, hey, you got to start posting out there. You got to start sharing your story out there, because you never know, like, when's the last day on earth when's that day gonna come,
Yeah, that's good, and I think it's great that you're sharing your story so people can see it. Of course, like I saw it, and more people will see it. And even this podcast with you sharing, everything we're talking about, hopefully this reaches the right audience to really they feel inspired by you and your story as well.
Yes.
So, of course, now you're inspiring others, and that's what you want to do. But is there someone that you feel like that has inspired you that is possibly in the real estate industry that you see where you maybe want to be, or where you want to go? Is there anyone that comes to mind that has
In the
inspired?
real estate industry.
Yeah, or just, I mean, even a entrepreneur themselves or business owner themselves.
I would say, that's going to be a tough question. I would have to give credit to my parents. I would say they work so hard to get us, to bring themselves over here and start a new life. I would say, like, every time I hear their story, like, it breaks my heart, because I feel like I'm not giving my life 100%, that I should be. And sometimes I beat myself up for it. And I even talked to them about it. And they even told me, like, girl, you're doing so great. Like, just keep going, Seguirle para adelante, right? Nada para atrás. And for them to become entrepreneurs themselves really, really did show me, like, girl, they literally had no help. Literally no help. And that was like, girl, if you just ask for it, I'm pretty sure you're going to be taking this industry to the next level. And I saw a lot of realtors when I was networking with a lot of realtors, and I saw how they honestly work. And I honestly saw their stories on why they got into real estate, because a lot of them, they kind of get into it kind of
The wrong way with money or something.
yeah,
Yeah,
exactly.
that's how you could say it. It's okay. Yeah.
I know. I see that all the time, or I ask them, like, "Oh, why'd you join real estate?" And they would be like, "Oh, because there's a lot of money in it." And I was like, "Oh, okay." And when I was kind of figuring that out myself, like, why do I want to join real estate? And I was like, to be honest, there was something more than just, oh, me being financially free. It was more like, girl, I feel like it wouldn't exist. Like, time really wouldn't exist for you if you were financially free. I feel like there would be purpose for me to honestly have a career where you're honestly in control of it, and as well as you could honestly help others. Like, I wanted to help the younger generation. And that's why I kind of, like, and I could start it as young as 18. And so I was like, no, this is my why. I'm going to stick with it. Because, to be honest with you, me as a kid, I never thought I would be like, wow, I'm going to be here at this age, or let alone graduate high school.
Mhm.
So that's really what I saw and what I took from my experiences and me networking and me seeing other people and me being inspired. Honestly, I get inspired so many times. Like, it's not just me inspiring others. I get inspired with just, like, the littlest things. So yeah, definitely.
I love it. Yeah, in this industry, you can earn a good amount of money. but going in for the right reasons is what I feel like is best. And I'm not saying you have to. So I don't think we would judge anyone that wants to join real estate just because you don't want to earn money. Who doesn't like a little money, right? So I think that's good. But I feel like, and tell me if I'm wrong, but and tell me if you agree with this. But stories and your reason why of doing things is what kind of makes people trust you and earn respect more in your industry and for your business, right?
Yeah, yeah.
So when it comes to story, would you because this whole thing is about stories, and I know we're mentioning this the whole time, but stories is huge. And I tell everyone, hey, you need to share your story. You need to share your story because that's what people want to hear. What are some words of encouragement that you would say to not only just current realtors that have been in the business for longer periods of time that maybe have not told their story, but ones that are joining the real estate industry, or just anyone that wants to become their own business owner? What advice would you give them when it comes to sharing their own story?
When it comes to sharing their own story, I mean, for me, I would say like to get over that fear of being judged, right? Trust me, I was a little kid in school, they were all judging me. I'm sure they all made fun of me. Um and I was like, you know what? I just don't care anymore, you know? I felt like that. I was like, I could care less what y'all people think. I saw a vision that was put in me when I was in Mexico. Like I was like locked in, you know? So when I was locked in and I had a goal and I knew what I wanted, and the world just was just revolving around me, you know? And so I think that's what got me through the tough times of trying to find a job out here at 16, right? I'm sure it's hard, right?
Yes.
Or balancing the bills, like the rent, my phone bill, my gas, my insurance, like all the adult things that I had to do. It was a lot for me at the beginning, and it was for me to be locked in and not care anymore. That was the biggest thing that got me to share my story, you know? It really was like, okay, even though I had a really bad camera, trust me, I had like a Samsung or something, the camera was like bad. I was like, you know what, I'm gonna pick it up, I'm gonna start filming, and it's gonna be a simple, like, get ready with me as like a 17-year-old out of high school, or get ready with me, um, or something like those little videos of get ready with me, and they were like really popular. I'm not sure if they are now, but they were really popular back then. And I was like shoot like little videos like that. And I would shoot like little story times like, oh my gosh, you're not gonna believe what happened to me today, you know? And I would tell that to my cousin all the time, like, girl, you're not gonna believe what crazy happened to me at work or what happened, because it's always an adventure, it's something just crazy. It's either gonna be good or bad.
Yes.
And so that was kind of what motivated me to be like, oh, like, it's honestly okay to open up, and people get to know you right through the screen. They know your personality. They know, like, oh, they get to know you in a way. And so I was like, okay, well, here I am.
Mhm. I like it. I love it. That's really great. And people really don't. They think they need fancy equipment, or they just they're scared of being judged. But there's just it's mainly excuses. So you just like you did, you could do it with the regular phone that's not super fancy. It's what people relate to, and what a story that someone hears that gets their engagement. That's what really drives a video of any sort. So it's not necessarily the equipment. I want to get to the next question. I have your hair there. We'll move it to the side there. It's okay. It's windy, so it's okay. Okay. So the next question I have for you is: so you're a realtor now. You have your license, and you got it. You went through the hurdles, but you made it here. You're posting on content, and I'm sure you're not going to stop posting the content. You're going to keep going, just like you said, because you want people to know who you are, and I think that's great. People should definitely know who you are. Well, what is the next goal? What are some goals that you have for you? Whether it's, I know we're almost close to the end of the year, but either it's the end of this year or next year or 5 years from now, what are some, 2 to 3 main goals that you want for you, just yourself in general and your career?
Well, I know for me, the biggest thing is I had a goal in my mind, like, oh, how crazy would it be if my first year in real estate, I would be able to buy an investment property, something like that, some people are telling me like, oh, well, you got to do this, you got to do like the other requirements. And I was like, well, I don't know. I'm not crazy. I can make the impossible possible, you know? So that's one of them. You know, I know with me and my brother, we do have plan. Like we have that investor type of mindset. I know he wants to invest in real estate too. So we probably get together and, well, now that I'm a realtor, we'll get together and probably get an investment property. I know it was probably too big of a goal to have it in maybe 1 year of me being in real estate. Maybe in year 2, I know I definitely do want to start investing in real estate and kind of investing um, ways to get more financial free, you know? Because I know I mean, throughout the year that I was kind of preparing myself to become a realtor, of course, I had to prepare my mind first, right? Before anything, you know?
Yes.
Your mind is your only weapon, you know, in this industry to get you through those tough days. And so I would say the biggest one was to learn how to finance, like be proper with my money, budget my money, right? I've heard this one quote that really stuck with me, and that really was like, okay, this is it, where it was, if you stay low enough long enough, you'll become big enough soon enough. And that really stuck with me, where it's like, okay, well, it doesn't matter what I'm starting it with now, or it doesn't matter if I don't have the latest equipment or anything like that. At least I know, hey, I have a lot of savings, or my investment, my worth is somewhere else. And I'm not living paycheck to paycheck. That's one thing I noticed, like my parents really grew their wealth that way. And I was like, you know, if I were to have that, and like if I learned that skill, like I'm sure that would take me beyond my years, you know? That's one of them. I can't remember these other goals, but I know that I do want to start. I know it's crazy, but I know that I want to start become a public speaker, kind of share my story out there more, but in public spaces. I'm not sure how I would do that. I was thinking about going back and to be like an inspirational speaker, going to high schools and kind of influence that to those younger generations, because that's where I was at one point. And I know that those schools, or those kids in those schools, they're really like lost. I know they are, because I was once in that position in today's life. And I know that if I were to help them kind of flourish and be like, hey, like once you graduate, this is not the end of the world, you know? I know it can be scary out there, but you gotta go out there, you know?
Yes.
I know that's those 3 goals are probably gonna be one of my biggest things I want to accomplish in the next couple years. Probably in the first, not just like.
No. Well, I like those goals. Those are really good goals to have, you know, and I think they're very unique to you, and I think that's awesome. You know, especially the one of you wanting to speak publicly, you know, at other high schools, and you know, and tell people your story and how they can go from where they are to what they want to become. I think that's great. So I guess I'll leave one thing here. What's one thing, if you have any, if you don't, that's okay. But if is there one thing that you want to share to anyone for this last section here?
Anything that I wanted to share?
Yeah, anything in particular that you think people should know, or would be good advice, or anything, or it could be about yourself too.
Mm, I would say the biggest thing is the time that you spend doubting yourself is a time that you could have started building. I know I doubted myself a lot. I'm sure a lot of people others did, but instead of me just looking back like, man, I should have done this differently, or I should have done that differently, I was just like, you know what? A lot of people get stuck in the past. You know, like, man, I did this, you know? I've just learned to live with, you know, no regrets. So, you know, you really can, because with the time that you have is really precious. You got to make the most out of it. And I knew that this is for me, and I didn't want to waste a single moment trying to be like, oh, I'm too young to do this, or whatever the excuses or may be out there, you know?
Yeah, I love it. That's great advice, and that's great, thing to say for people. I think they should all feel the same way.
Mhm.
That's great. Though I'm so happy that you were able to be on the show with me today. And people are gonna love your story, and I'm sure we'll have you on here again. I'm sure you're gonna succeed great heights in your career in this real estate industry. So I'm sure we'll see you on some real producers thing or a top producer wherever you are. So
We're gonna speak it into existence.
yes,
guys.
exactly. So that's gonna be awesome. And again, I appreciate you being on here. And until next time.
Yes. Oh, thank you so much.
Yes, you're welcome.